Radiance ban. Dyer's ban.
Good evening and welcome back on this Thursday night edition of the Collegiate Star League. We've got players from around the North American area, Canada, North America, and I think we might even have some South American teams, and if we don't, I'm sure they'll be joining us next season for their share of $15,000 in scholarships, as well as a all-expense-paid trip to DreamHack Austin to play in the LAN Finals. My name's Toffees. You can find me at Toffees TV over on the Twitter, and I'm joined, as usual, by my co-caster, my intrepid rock, the man who's always here on time and ready to go, Gorgon the Wonder Cow. How are you doing tonight?
Doing very well, as always, forever, every cast we've ever scheduled that I've never missed one of, ever. Especially not earlier this week.
You're echoing, and I can't figure out why. So give me.
Do you have mute co-casters in Dota?
Let's see. Did the update change settings?
Didn't change mine.
It was not muted. All right, that should fix the issue. So,
and I'm your IT guy too, as it turns out.
So that's why we love you. You do it all, and it helps out a ton. I will say that they definitely added some things I wasn't prepared for into the game, like apparently sound alerts to messaging. But there are some particle issues, and the first thing that we're going to bring up as we chat here is the fact that you guys are about to watch a game between CMU and Tulsa, but it is a scrim. There have been some technical and scheduling issues throughout the day-to-day, and one of those things was some of the particle effects. And honestly, we felt like, due to the benefit of the team, as well as the benefit of, well, not wanting to have a match for sure when we didn't know what the particle effects were going to look like tonight. We
went with they would look like anything at all.
Exactly. We decided to go with a scrim. So that's what we sort of put together for you guys here. They are two great teams, both with very strong records, and it should make for a very fun match. Now, we're going to talk about it, but first, we've got to do a little bit of housekeeping because there's some big stuff going on in the CSL that we need you to make sure you know about. First, we want to say a thank you to our sponsors. This is brought to you by Twitch TV. A big shout out to them for sponsoring and featuring us in their weekly matches or in their weekly updates. We're proud to be affiliated with the largest gaming stream provider in the world. The other big one, and this is a huge one, Gorgon, is Asus Republic of Gamers. Asus is the presenting sponsor for CSL this year, and what that means is they are paying for the scholarship, so the $15,000 for the prize winning, and get this, they are paying all expenses and travel to fly the top 4 teams out to DreamHack so they can compete on the big stage. So Asus basically said, we make some of the best gaming PCs, laptops, and monitors in the world, and we want to let some college students who take Dota seriously, who play very well, have that pro experience. And that's really one of the coolest things coming out of this sort of college gaming growth, is that these guys are going to get to maybe have, I don't want to say the experience of a lifetime, but it certainly seems that way if you get to play on the stage at DreamHack.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see organizations and corporations that are interested in esports also being interested in helping to propel the next generation of people coming out of college that might go to work at Asus or somewhere else, really kind of merging those two interests together in a way that is not only humanitarian in its nature, but also really helps esports get well-rounded.
You say, is it Asus instead of Asus?
It's pronounced however you want to pronounce it.
I guess when you say Asus, it sounds like a tech company. When you say Asus, it sounds like the savior of gaming. The other big plug that we need to do is this is your last day to sign up for StarCraft 2 and Hearthstone. These are big sessions. They have prize money on the line. I believe they will be getting a trip to a LAN final if enough signups come through. So you
Reserve
have
time.
today is the last day to sign up for the spring StarCraft 2 and Hearthstone tournament. So if you're into those games, if you play competitively or think you have what it takes, go there and sign up right now on a different tab. Dota 2, obviously, will be back, just so you guys know, next week, week 9, every Tuesday and Thursday, we bring you games. Tuesday will be Rutgers versus San Jose State in an official showdown as all the teams come back from vacation. We don't have any colleges still on Christmas break or winter break as of next week, so we will see our schedule back to stability. No more scrims, unless, of course, we get more technical issues like we did today. And if you miss any matches, you can find them over on YouTube. So, that said, we've seen the draft start to come out here, Gorgon. Vengeful Spirit, Undying for CMU, and we've got for Tulsa, the Slardar and the Death Prophet come out.
Radiance band.
Interesting bans. The Oracle and the Earth Spirit, both heroes recently added to the Captain's Draft, banned 1 and 2. Do you think that makes sense, or do you think it's more of a CMU maybe just hasn't had time to get to know those heroes?
I think it makes a lot of sense if CMU assumes their opponents
10
have
seconds to
top
go.
level players, right? That's really what it comes down to. For Earth Spirit especially, literally, if not the most, one of the 3 most undervalued
Reserve
heroes in
time.
professional gaming right now, when you assign success rate to ban and pick rate. He's just wildly undervalued by teams compared to what he provides, and I expect that we're going to see him slide up the scale a lot more. He provides even more at this level if you have one really good Earth Spirit player,
Right.
like a 5K player playing into some 3 or 4K players. The amount that you can get done of heavy lifting with an Earth Spirit in almost any position is staggering. So for CMU, I very much respect the decision to not want to go into that.
Definitely. And another hero picked up there is interesting discussion. I'm sure you know Leaf Eater. He's famous for being a Reddit mod, but he's also actually a great player in his own right. And he has been touting the overpowered nature of Outward Devourer and thinks that we've seen a fair amount of him in pro play, but thinks that will skyrocket as we move farther down this patch. What do you think of OD?
I think OD is very strong. I think he gets less strong the higher your skill level. He's one of these heroes that really snowballs, so to speak, from the mid game, especially if you don't have really good coordination and synergy to deal with him.
Right.
If you are not really well prepared to deal with the Astral Imprisonment AoE damage or the Sanity's Eclipse, your team just kind of gets rolled over by him. But as you start to get better communication and better coordination, you see a little bit less of the Outworld Devourer as a threat.
Okay. That makes sense, and I'll let Leaf Eater know that you don't think he's a high quality player, and that he's stuck in that mid range.
I am just looking at the stats for the highest of high quality games.
And now it is important. Gorgon brings up an interesting fact that I think you guys, as viewers who spend your weeks with us here, need to know, and that is that Toffees is a lot about the fun, and Gorgon is all about the numbers. So every question that we ask him is generally answered with a tint of statistics, which I love because it's the exact opposite of what I'm capable of. So if you guys do ever have stuff that you're curious about, you can bring them to chat, throw them out there. And I know that Gorgon does try to read the chat between matches and might be able to give you some great figures on your favorite heroes. So definitely check that out. Shadow Shaman is going to get picked up here by Tulsa as their, I believe, first support pick, depending on what they go with now. Lots of lockdown, lots of tower push potential, and then Necrophos now, somebody who I feel like I haven't seen a ton of Necrophos lately. Am I wrong in that, or is this something that looks like a little bit of a pocket pick for CMU?
So it depends on if you're talking about pubs or pros, right? Because
Right.
Necrophos in pubs has been doing really well, like one of the most successful heroes this past.
Really?
Pubs.
Why is that?
Just
5
it
seconds.
comes down to a combination of the amount of aggression you can pump out with Death Pulse, the strength in the laning phase, and
Reserve
the ability
time.
to remove a hero from the field with Reaper's Scythe indefinitely, essentially, right? A lot of heroes that use heals have been performing very well at the top levels of pub play, because it allows you to be very aggressive, it allows you to make mistakes, and you don't have to coordinate quite so tightly with your teammates. But 3 of the top 4 right now are Omni Knight, Abaddon, and Necrophos, right? You go down a little further, you get a Wraith King in the 6th spot as well, I believe, at like the 5 or 6K level. So you're talking 3 of the top 5 are huge healers, the 4th having a nice big heal AoE aura, right?
Right.
It's not as effective
Dyer's
in
banned.
pubs or in pro games, and competitive games to rely on that. But when you don't know your teammates, I think it makes a big difference to be able to not only deal out a heavy amount of damage like Omni-Knight and Necrophos can, but also to just kind of keep your idiot teammates alive.
So what you're saying is it's
10
time for
seconds
Toffees
to
to
go.
pull the Wraith King back out of his pocket. That's
There you
exciting.
go.
I didn't even think about it. I didn't even
I
think
don't know
about
how
that.
you fit him in there, but yeah, you should get him out.
All right, 150 games. He's coming back, baby. All right, Juggernaut banned out. Witch Doctor banned out as well. I don't mind the Witch Doctor ban. I think the Shadow Shaman Witch Doctor is a very difficult combo to deal with. So getting rid of him is a good choice, especially if you're worried about your opponent taking some sort of aggressive tri-lane, because a Shadow Shaman Witch Doctor aggressive tri-lane is, how do you say, ridiculously brutal. So
Also, Witch Doctor is going to be one of the only remaining supports in the pool that has physical damage output. And look
10
at this lineup.
seconds to
Physical
go.
damage ult from Exorcism, physical damage ult from Shadow Shaman, damage amplification
5
for
seconds.
physical damage coming out of Slardar, and then heavy right clicks coming out of Slardar as well. You don't really want to allow your
Reserve
teammates
time.
or your opponents to stack up too much of that, because right now they already have an immense amount of push. You
Right.
get some
Dyer's
negative
big.
armor or like an AC on top of a Witch Doctor ult, which is also physical damage, and there's not a lot that your squishier heroes are going to be able to do to stand up to that.
So, and then Lion, of course, is going to get picked up. So if you can't get the Witch Doctor, grab the Lion. Very strong hero as long as you have particle effects to see what he's doing. And they did fix those 20 minutes ago. So, who was it? It was Vikram. Somebody else posted that they were playing Lion earlier without the particle
Yeah,
effects.
I was
10
playing with
seconds
a
to go.
Lion on my
Okay.
team against a Pudge. You couldn't see the hook. With a Darkseer, you couldn't see the wall.
Oh my god.
So it was a special time.
Wow, that's brutal.
Reserve
So
time.
that said, it's fixed. He's back. Ow, my boy. Ooh. That's the Zeus, and it looks like that might. Is that the Arcana? Or that's just the new portrait. So the new Zeus picked up. I think that Zeus is incredibly strong right now. We've seen him show up in pro play.
3 of the top 5 are huge healers. The 4th having a nice big heal. And Toffee's died there, I think. So what I think he was going to say is we've seen him in pro play. He's been doing extremely well in pub play as well. His amount of pressure that he can apply is tremendous throughout the mid game, and he provides that magical damage edge to a team that otherwise might rely very heavily on physical damage, especially with the Vengeful Spirit coming out, and the Undying also pairs very well with heavy nukes because the decay lowers relative HP, making each of those nukes actually much stronger than it should be.
All right.
I hear Toffee's again
Yeah.
now. He's back.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but when we loaded in, it reset all of those audio cues that we had issues with when we first
It's
started.
reborn. They still haven't fixed some of the settings glitches on it.
So guys, forgive me as I reset some stuff like the camera controls. It's just reborn things, you know.
Well, fortunately, we've got a couple of hero disconnects as well, and shout out to Venom's MMR. Wow, brutal. Or great, I don't know, I haven't checked, but I'm gonna assume brutal.
All right, so now we've got everybody loaded in. We've got the screens up where they need to be. We fixed we fixed all the other stuff. So that said, let's
So,
get
are
right
you
into this.
looking at this lineup? How do they put? I'm guessing they put the Death Prophet mid and send OD to farm, but they could switch those two, right?
Right, and that's what I was wondering, which one they kind of go with there. It's a tough call. So what I thought that they might do is that I thought that the OD with the Lion and the Shadow Shaman, or the OD with the Shadow Shaman Witch Doctor, would make an incredibly difficult to deal with aggressive tri-lane. Because of the fact that OD's got such a good setup, your stuns move into position so that the second he releases you from his astral imprisonment, there's nowhere that you're going to go besides back to base, and not the way that you're planning on doing it. So I could see them doing that. If it's not an aggressive tri-lane, though, I think that we will see OD go mid, and we'll see Death Prophet go to the safe lane.
So if you look at the numbers, Death Prophet does slightly better than OD on average in a mid matchup at very high levels of play, like professional levels of play, in a one-on-one mid. Well, the reason that I would expect the Death Prophet to go mid is only because that gets the quick exorcism, and they appear to be going for a very push-oriented strategy. And once he is able to get up a bit of his last hits and kind of contest, they should go fairly even either way if they are relatively evenly skilled players. But the Zeus will eventually be forced to rotate out as that OD starts to become big. they don't have a ton of kill potential without rotations unless their opponents are gonna do a very aggressive trialing, right? And when you have that rotation out of the mid, Death Prop can just knock down a tower. Right. So but if you have the OD in the mid, he's getting that solo experience, but he isn't able to leverage that for an early tower. Right.
Okay, that makes sense. So I guess they have to ask themselves, are they looking to start to get aggressive out of the towers? And I mean, the Shadow Shaman would imply that they're looking to take towers early. That said, though, who has the late game advantage when you look at this lineup? Neither team has a traditionally large, heavy-duty late game carry. So of these two teams, who transitions better should that game push into the 40 to 50 minute mark?
You know, I think it depends on the state of the game when they get there. I would expect the Radiant side to go into that 30 to 40 minute mark with a slight advantage,
Agreed.
with a tower advantage, and maybe, you know, a high ground cracked. That's their goal. If they don't manage to keep themselves in front of their Dire side opponents, then I think they will end up falling behind. They are really a team that relies on the momentum of knocking down towers to get their supports up, some items, and to really be leveraging their skills to the maximum potential.
That makes sense. Should be a pretty interesting lineup. I'm curious to see how they go here. I also want to say that I think that OD in mid against a Zeus, to me, is a little bit stronger than seeing the Death Prophet in the mid against Zeus. So I'm curious to see if they put that into account as well. Because if you can take away that Zeus's ability to have the mana to cast Arc Lightning, then it really puts some trouble on him in that lane. So we'll see how that goes. Just waiting.
When you're, and I just want to qualify a statement that I made earlier. I said Death Prophet typically does a little better than OD, but that's this patch in professional games with a very small sample size. So it really can swing either way. And all three of these heroes go up against each other very, very closely in terms of blast hits, historically before the reworks.
Makes sense. So we'll see which way it goes. I know, like, this is college Dota, so it's a little tough for us to remember the positions of all the players from every team that we see and that exists in this league, since there's 2 divisions in every area of the country, if that makes sense. So there's 2 Eastern divisions, there's 2 Western, 2 Central, so there's a whole lot of Dota teams. So I can't remember off the top of my head if Kim Jong-il plays mid. I know that he is a fan of basketball, but I'm not sure where that's going to put him in terms of the map. So we do have to sort of wait and see where he goes instead of having that sort of insight. And maybe Twitch chat, the fans of CMU that know them, they already know what the placements are going to be or what it's going to look like here. I'm curious to see. Now, I would say we could do introductions, but I don't necessarily want to get into that if we don't have a Slardar coming back anytime soon. But you know what? Heck, why the heck not? Let's do it. Let's introduce these 2 teams to everybody who's watching. So, for the Dire side, Carnegie Mellon University, as they take the field, we are going to have the Lich, played by Derek Yan. We're going to have Venom playing the Necrophos. We're going to have the Undying, played by Beavis. Solo Brow is going to be playing the Vengeful Spirit. And Kim Jong-il, the leader of this team, is going to be playing the Zeus.
All right, and here for Tulsa on the Radiant side, we've got Gold on the Outworld Devourer. GBPS getting a little help from her friends on the Death Prophet. We've got, that was Ice9 on the Outworld Devourer. RUA Baby, giving the finger on the Lion. Jedi sliding around on the Slardar, and Robo Chips shooting out that magic on the Shadow Shaman.
Things look good as this game hopefully will get underway very soon. I feel like it's a return to previous patches, this new staple of pauses when the game starts.
Yeah, well, you know, in previous patches everything was broken and Valve just wants to go back to the golden days of Dota. Remind everyone what we came from.
Remind us of where we came from and where we are now. Nice, sweet courier. That's a cool Bloodseeker courier. So, couriers are out on both sides. Game is underway as I want to say kudos to CMU for staying old school with their courier.
You know why they did that, I'm pretty sure? Because since the Reborn client came out, a lot of times couriers reset your option every time you shut Dota down. I've noticed that myself because every time I forget to reset my courier and global items, and so I only use the donkey these days. Nice. And it makes I know that you know Feeder Noob, who is a very very conscientious cosmetic lady on YouTube. does videos on the best cosmetics and how to use them and what she likes, and she sees me using the donkey and she gets sad.
Well, I mean, I feel it. I've got a faceless void courier that often turns himself off, and it's depressing. Right? When you agree to play support and you put a courier out, you're like, at least I get to buy a cool courier, and then it's the donkey. You're like, no. Why? Now I'm stuck being a support player and having a donkey.
I like that donkey, man. He's got a tiny little smile. He's got a little armor faceplate helmet thing. This guy's ready for battle.
Gorgon loves tiny asses. That's been a thing since as long as I've known you. So curious to see how.
At least we're just being forward about who I am. I love tiny asses with underbites and helmets.
It's a cool helmet. All right, so we're just waiting for this thing to start up. I guess I could. They gave us a screen to put up during moments like this, but I feel like it's just more entertaining to talk about our love of asses.
We're getting through the home stretch. We're getting to the point where we're going to start seeing some action. Taking a look at these items, it does look like they're going to have a 2-1-2 on the Dire side.
Okay.
You've got wards already up on the Lich, right? He's probably going to trade one of those off. Lich does much better in a 2-1-2 situation than in a tri-lane.
Right.
So not only can he leverage sacrifice for lane equilibrium advantage out of the off lane, and also experience advantage to even out some of the off lane disadvantage that you would normally have, but also he's a hero that really wants to get levels very quickly, and throwing him into a tri-lane is going to undermine that. I would expect him and Undying to go to the off lane with a Vengeful Spirit Necrophos safe lane. If they choose to not go for that, then an aggressive tri-lane is probably the way to go here.
So let's take, since we're just killing time here, let's talk a little bit about this new item, the Fairy Fire, that came out. When Mango came out, a lot of folks talked about it, analyzed its value. There's a lot of sort of back and forth among the pros. Fairy Fire has been pretty quiet. There hasn't been a ton of talk about should it be picked up instead of a healing salve, where does it fit into the opening lineup, but I see a lot of players getting it early on. Talk to me about this item and sort of why there wasn't a lot of discussion and why a lot of pros are investing in it.
So it's a fully charged wand that you can buy at the beginning of the game, right? Imagine all the times that you've seen a professional player escape because he had a couple of wand charges and he hit it at the right time. A Fairy Fire is that out. At a point of time in the game where you're talking 75 health is more than 10% of your hero's health. It's a significant boost. But not only that, the additional damage that you get from it makes it much more cost effective than getting, for example, 2 Ironwood branches if you're just trying to harass. I think it's most effective on support, but it can be all right on a ranged carry if you happen to have an extra 75 gold in the fountain.
I see. Now, and then I guess my next question is this. At 115 gold, you get 4 tangos. Obviously, there's a larger regen quotient for the tangos. But why don't we see, and I don't think I've seen this yet, generally the mid asks for a tango pool from each support in a pro game, maybe more than that. Why don't we just see a support, say, buying a Fairy Fire for the mid? Because it seems like that instant 75 could ultimately be a lot stronger than 1 or 2 tangos that help you survive till the bottle gets there.
I don't think it's transferable. I've never tried it, but I just made the assumption that, like all other regen items, it's non-transferable.
Well, I guess I just made the assumption that it was. So time for us to test.
If they had added this item 2.5 years ago, then probably it would have been transferable. But remember, they had that big shift from being able to hand items over between players to having to physically cast them on your allies in order to prevent that sort of mid-pooling from happening. So there was a big problem, to be honest, with mid players getting huge amounts of pooled wealth going into the mid lane and just starting with a full slate of mid items for the early game.
Right.
And it made it very difficult for a team that had a mid that underperformed come back through the early stages of the game. And one of the counters to that was saying you can share tangos, but anything else that you're going to cast on an ally, you have to cast while you're physically there, which not only encourages supports to rotate to the mid lane to possibly heal their allies, but it also reduces the impact of those mids throughout the rippling of the rest of the game.
Okay. So it sounds like we got everybody back. Necrophos said, if I disconnect again, wife Ishka o fesu falaga wags.
I can't tell you how many times I've said that exact same sentiment in my own life.
I don't speak that language, but I'm going to try to... Wife Iska. I feel like that's something. That's something like you want to yell in a team fight, right? Like at the end of a team fight when they're all dead. Wife Iska, fellow us all wags. All right, so the game is underway. We got a little slap happy during the 20 minutes of pause, but it looks like everybody's going to head out to their positions as we get this thing started. Safe lane does, well, still no hints as the OD is headed towards that mid position. He did pick up the early boots. GBPS has pulled 2 tangos and has 2 fairy fires, so I'm going to assume that he is going to be going towards the mid position.
Yeah, Death Prophet's definitely going mid here. So that, I think, is the right call. I know you kind of disagree, but it does give him a better chance in his lane in terms of coming out ahead in terms of CS, but it also gives him that better chance of an early tower, which benefits everyone on the team. Yes, having the OD really get going benefits that player and could benefit the team if the player gets completely snowballed.
I actually don't disagree. I think that OD in a tri lane with those 2 stuns is going to be incredibly strong.
Yeah.
So the ability to use the range of the Astral Imprisonment to sort of lock him in place while your lower range spells get positioned to sort of, I mean, not just sort of completely obliterate the opponents, is going to be very, very strong. So GBPS will go out and get this rune. No contest on the bottom, no contest on the top. Both teams allowed to have their respective gold runes as we get this thing started. Zeus will pick that up and is now in early bottle range, so he will be very happy as he goes to this mid position. Keep an eye on that. GBPS knows she's against the Zeus. Has picked up a ton of regen for that. My question is, can Death Prophet comfortably stay in lane against Kim Jong-il with that early bottle? Because the harass by level 2, when you talk about static field, is so significant. And I know that GBPS is going to be utilizing her last hit with that Crypt Swarm, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Yeah, so statistically, yes, she should be able to. She's going to get a wand. She's going to get it out early, and then every time he casts, she's going to get a bit of that back. Her magic damage relative to his health pool is greater than his magic damage relative to her health pool, because she has greater base strength, right? So she should be able to not only stand on her own, but also get slightly ahead, in theory, if they're basically evenly matched players. And that's the real question here. How evenly matched are these players in this lane?
Well, and that's something that often comes up. Those of you who are here every week know this is college Dota. These aren't the pros. So individual skill, especially on specific heroes, does come into play significantly during the laning phases as well as sort of later on in the team fight. So that's something that we're definitely going to keep an eye on. If I remember correctly, Kim Jong-il has proven to us in past games that he is very strong in that mid position, but he's going to have a tall order up against GBPS, who already is going to start going in the harass and go ahead and taking off some of that regen that he had running. Down the bottom, we got a little bit of action as the harass comes out, so Gold taking a lot of early damage, has to be careful here. It's a tough lane. He's got to go up against that Lich who can manage equilibrium and slow down his farm, and Beavis with that Soul Rip is going to have give a lot of trouble, I think, for OD to close into the range he needs to get these last hits.
Yeah. Also, one thing that I wanted to touch on, the benefit of having the OD in the safe lane rather than the mid in this lineup specifically, is that OD kind of, up top, we might have a bit of an engagement here as Venom is diving into the creeps. They're going to think better of it, so I'm going to go back to my point. You kind of waste the Essence Ore if OD is alone, right? You get more value out of leveling out the Essence Ore.
Venom going deep. There's a big stun on Gold. Rua baby going to back away. Jedi gets a nice stun up here. Jedi on the run, and he will manage to get out of range. But that was a good initiation on RUA baby to let them know that they have to be careful. I didn't realize Tulsa had more than one Dota team. So apparently this is Tulsa University's Gold team, and that's why they're all wearing TU Gold.
Okay, that makes sense. I just thought that they liked elements, random elements.
TU AU.
Next time it's going to be TU lead, you know.
Nice. I can't believe I knew what the gold periodic symbol was. GBPS going to go ahead and continue to farm this lane as Kim Jong-il heads towards the bottom looking for a bottle refill here. Not going to be available to him, so he's got to head back. Loses a little bit of farm time. Meanwhile, up on top, Venom going behind the tower, getting very aggressive. RUA baby trying to come in and get the stun off. Does manage to get it. No tower damage, though. Jedi goes in deep, gets his stun, but it's not going to do much. It actually cost him more than he gained in terms of health to go ahead and do that. I think they hoped the creeps would go down faster for a tower hit or two.
Yeah, that was probably what the hope was. Now, take a look at the mid. Neither of these players have any mana left to speak of. Zeus does have a bottle, and GBS does. Oh, he got his bottle as well, so never mind.
Yep.
But we are seeing the Death Prophet slightly take a lead. We're talking a margin of 1 to 2 creeps, which is about where that lead should be until maybe 7 minutes.
Yep, Kim Jong chose to go with the 1 mana pot instead of 2 build, which I think is actually hurting him a little bit right now, so he's being forced to Bottle Crow. Ice 9 meeting up with Derek Yan. Derek Yan putting a lot of damage on him, and this OD is having a really tough lane down here on bottom. He is 10-1 right now, and I think that they hoped he'd be a little farther ahead going up against this Undying and Lich combo, but he just can't seem to get a lot together against the harassment coming out of them.
That's a really strong 2-on-2 lane.
Yeah.
Undying Lich. You have the Decay and the Nuke. And remember, Decay, because it takes away your strength, it increases the relative power of a Nuke. It actually makes Lich's damage output is increased just because that Decay is in lane. You can't really dive into him because there's always the threat of a Tombstone, and you don't have a third hero in order to knock that Tombstone down quickly. Into a tri-lane, this would be a little bit less of a viable strategy, a little bit less strong. But because both teams decided to 2-1-2, that lane is going to very heavily favor the Dire.
Right. Well, we should see how it goes. Up on in the mid, Rua Baby does make a rotation up with an Invis rune, trying to go on Kim Jong-il, but there was no mana available for GBPS. She's just going to stay back and farm the lane. So Lion, with a thoughtful rotation, ends up getting nothing for it and rotates away. He did take the rune instead of defending it, which I thought was interesting, as GBPS is going to be bottle crowing instead.
All right. Well, he is going to get a bit of experience off that rune, right? That he missed out on because they did not get a kill on him. He's going to throw a casual stun at Venom, but it's not worth that much. And down bottom, just look at Ice9, zoned out completely. Just kind of sitting here trying to get the experience. Not what you want from your farming carry.
Why are the teams blacked out? So, some folks are asking why the team names are blacked out. That is because Tulsa did not put a team name into the actual overlay. That said, this is a scrim, guys. This is not a ranked game in terms of the groupings because of the fact that there were some issues with technical particle effects earlier this evening, as well as team schedules. We decided it was safer just to run a scrim tonight instead of asking some teams to play if those particle effects were not fixed, as those would have had a huge impact on games and selections. This doesn't really seem fair to the ranking system. So
yeah, for those of you who don't know, a lot of the spells that use particle effects are also spells that are lingering and or AoE based. So you're talking Crystal Maiden ulti, Pudge, Hook, Darkseer ulti, a lot of things that you really want to be able to see. Also, Scroll of Teleportation being cast. While those particle effects were not working, heroes would just appear at towers at random.
Oh my god, I think that might be one of the worst.
Yeah, an entire team would just appear in the course of 1.5 seconds in front of you, and you wouldn't have had opening.
Man,
it was a rough little stretch. Yeah.
Ice9, every time they bop him, he just gets dropped so ridiculously fast. He's actually, I think he just bought tangos. He bought tangos and is having them bust out to him at 630 because the damage is so high. In they go on Kim Jong-il mid. They want to try to get that first blood. They're going very deep. RUA Baby's going to come in to get the stun. GBPS can't afford to chase too far. Gets the link up. Counter stun by Solo Brow on a good TP to make sure that there was no dive to take out the Zeus. So that was great play by CMU to work together to make sure that that early death isn't given up. Kim Jong-il can't afford to give up a mid death. He'll fall way too far behind that death profit. So nice rotations on both sides to try and make that happen. 7 minutes in, Gorgon, we still don't have any kills. The last hit chart is definitely in favor of the Dire right now, as the second, third, and fourth farmers are on the same side. But here we go. Tombstone is down inside of the trees. Beavis using it to make an escape path. Goes in, gets shackled underneath the Tombstone. They kill Beavis. Lots of zombies out. They're going to get the double, and it actually pays off. They go for the kill over the Tombstone, and while they thought it would be good, it ends up backfiring.
Yeah, they probably could have gotten that double and not lost Undying there as well, but he wanted to turn back around for the Decay. I can understand the mentality of, yeah, with the Decay, maybe I'll live and we'll definitely get the kills.
Right.
It was a little bit greedy from the Undying, but that all things said and done, it was a very favorable trade for his team.
All right, gold lead is up to about 1,500 for CMU as they've been farming very, very effectively on all three of their cores. If you look at the net worth stack, you're going to see that DP is doing great in the mid, but everyone else is not far behind, and that could come back to be a little bit of trouble as that Slardar is having a tough go of things at 15 and 6-3. He is only level 5 at the 8-minute mark in his solo lane.
Well, he did have the Lion coming in and out of the lane, so he split some of the experience, about 1.5 levels worth of experience with the Lion as well.
All right, so he's going to continue down the bottom. Ice9 still trying to get those last hits. His CS right now, 22-2.
Sorry, it's just RoboChips walked up very easily, could have gotten that rune. but denied it instead, I think in panic, thinking that the Zeus might kill him, but there was no way. It just confused me.
Confusion.
I was very taken off guard by that.
So either way, he does
Smoke up top.
smoke up top. Oh, so okay, we see the move up. There's 4 coming to top, 3 smoked. This is a big wraparound. They have lots of damage potential if they can move in there and get the attack. Now,
And then they've got the tower with the exorcism. If all things go according to plan, they're going to get at least 1 kill here and then just roll through the tower.
so GBPS will push down the creeps, take the creeps under tower. Once this tower is pushed under, we should see the initiation. Jedi on the backside, looking to be the first one in. In go the creeps. This will open it up. Ultimate popped by the Death Prophet. Here he comes.
Oh.
Nice counter stud. The TP's already popped. Jedi says, I'm going to try to... Nice play. Cancels the TP. Suckers out the attempted stun by Jedi. He's got to back away. They're going to come in. Gets up the drain. Wants to follow. Venom's going to go down. We already lost the Shadow Shaman, and we may lose the DP. No, she fights back. Beautiful play as the kill from the Crypt Swarm comes out at the last second. Kim Jong misses with his second. He might be in trouble here, Gorgon. He is.
He's dead, for
He's
sure.
done. If
He
he had
cannot chase into a Death Prophet whose ult is about to go down.
You know-
The heal that come out of those spirits is not to be underestimated.
if he had hit his lightning bolt, I think that would have been gone the opposite way.
It was definitely on the line, though.
Yeah. So
One way or the other.
he went straight level 4 on it, so I think had that made contact, he might have been able to pull it out. That said, it ended up not going at all in the favor of CMU. They blew the TPs and they pushed back the tower kill, but they gave up a lot in order to do it and only lost a Shadow Shaman on the opposite side of the map.
They did keep their tower for now, and they might get a return.
They will get a return here. RUA Baby's got nowhere to go. They move on Venom. RUA's got a full wand. I eat my words. As he somehow survives the Necrophos ult. They lose Necrophos. Solo Bro's got to run. Says, don't tase me, bro. But GPPS is in the mood to Crypt Swarm. Wants to see Jedi get a stun up first. Down comes the Tombstone. Finishes 1. Now they turn back around. Beavis realizes maybe he walked in a bit too deep. They're not going for the Tombstone. It's spawning. Beavis drops low. Nice play by Kim Jong-il. He comes in, puts up some damage, turns on Jedi. Jedi's going to go down. Now it's GBPS on the run. No TP for you, says Kim Jong-il, as he pops her with the W.
Oh, and then the
And
ult
gets
the
the-
lion on the tail end.
Beautiful. Gets the double on the Lion. It goes 6-6. Fight recap is a huge gold swing. All 12,000 back to the side of CMU. And if you look at that gold chart, you'll see just how important that turnaround was for them to retake that top on fight.
And Ice 9, this whole time, the trade-off that you would expect is that, oh, they let the Outworld Devourer farm for a while, but he's still not even caught up to the Undying. He's still 1 behind the Undying, who was his lane opponent, in his own safe lane. So he really didn't catch up that much. That was a great turn of events for CMU.
Yeah, CMU definitely needed that. And this is the team we expect to see from CMU. Both of these teams have winning records and good winning records. We're talking like 6-2
down bottom.
and 5-3. But now they want to move on RoboChips. RoboChips gets stunned and wand from Venom and Solo Bro as they just rock his world. And now they'll push up the bottom lane. We see that Derek Ryan is going to go ahead and guard that bottom rune. Or not, decides not to watch out for the bottom rune, goes straight back to lane. Rune will be spawning right now. Up on top, we see Jedi pinging it, saying, I got invisibility, let's do something with it, as he heads toward the top lane. Ice 9 going to go ahead and get the D wards out, so they did see the warding attempts by the Dire side, but he exposes himself, the ward pays off, and Ice 9 is put to rest. Now we got RoboChips going to try to defend bottom all by his little old self. Slardar has, looks like, returned to the bottom, but he can't do anything against these two heroes, so he has to be careful. Diving behind the tower goes Venom. No creep back up, just going to go deep. Says, I don't really even care. RoboChip's going to see him, comes out, gets the Hex, but the chicken runs out of tower range. TP's all around, baby. It's fight time. Venom and Solo Brow split up and say, maybe we overcommitted. That's one. Will they get the second? The stun is there. Solo Brow in some trouble, but we got a bouncing ball of doom. Hits Jedi, lucky bounce that it didn't go towards RUA Baby to go 2. Make it 3 as we see GBPS come in. So can you justify that dive?
You know, I was just about to say this is exactly what they need to be doing for CMU. But here's the thing that CMU, I think, did not take into account. They don't have an early game pushing squad. They want to be taking heroes. They don't really want to be messing around in towers. Ideally, all they want to do is keep their towers up and drag out this early mid game as long as they can, preventing their opponents from getting tower gold as long as they can, and then use the hero gold that they get from these skirmishes to be able to push down towers themselves. Until they get a couple of items up, they really can't put any significant pressure onto any of these tier 1, so diving into them doesn't make a lot of sense.
And there has been, by the way, a subplot of ward battle going on in this game. Like, very aggressively, both teams have been warding and de-warding, especially in this area here. It's been like this strange war of attrition as each team is warding and then immediately de-warding the opposing team. Venom's going to get gone on top. Nice stun by Jedi. 2 TP's going to come in. Unnecessary on the third one as Venom is going to get killed, but Slardar finishes the job. So GBPS comes in, says, all right, let's push the top tower since the TP's came out. Solo Browse by himself has to be careful here as they do have 3 strong heroes that can make a great initiation. Sad face with tears.
Sad face.
But I'm going to go to the bottom because Gold, Ice 9's got to run, and he's done. Good tombstone gank coming out from Derek Yan and Beavis.
And up top.
Whoa, and up top the fight goes in. They get a kill while we were watching the bottom, and Slardar ends up giving his life.
They might continue. There is the amp damage here.
GBPS comes in, gets up the drain, wants to make the chase. Good stun to stop it. This is bad for GBPS. Finger from Rua, but it's not enough. He may get out of this one. The stun is there. RUA trying to finish it. Doesn't have the damage. He will go down. Necrophos Scythe to finish the job, and that's a kill. Lion drops. GBPS has to back away, and they invested the finger in a lot to try and make that kill happen.
So for CMU right now, it looks like they're going to try to commit on this tower, and I think that's a mistake. I think they should just split up and farm, because the closer they get to their opponent's tower, the more pressure they're putting themselves under. These fights where the Necrophos died up here, getting ganked out, being a little bit too far forward. Oh, they've got drums. Never mind. What was that? No, it was a buckler. Okay. They are dying, finding themselves a bit too far forward. Now that they have the mechanism, it's moot. They have their base item to be able to sustain that tower. But before then, ideally they wanted to be in this range away from their opponent's tower so that they could always fight with even ground.
Alright, so DP and Shadow Shaman are going to invest both of their ultimates to take out that mid tower. Mid tower will go down. Bottom tower under assault here from Ice 9, who can really stick around for just a few more seconds and keep right-clicking it. He should be able to finish it, I think, as we have not seen any TPs out yet. Nope, here comes the rotation, so he does have to be careful. TPs are now dropping. Ice 9's got to go, and he's got to go fast. Here comes Zeus, thought about the mini-stun, decided not to invest in it. He does, however, have 4 heroes down here, and the blink is up. Venom wants to try and close the deal. Doesn't have his stun,
though. So
yeah.
Like, if just Venom walks in alone, he'll just get astral imprisonment. OD will walk away laughing to the bank.
Now they're going to start to push out the bottom. They want to finish this tower. Meanwhile, up on top, Solo Brow's on the run. Jedi's got the sprint, closes the distance, gets the stun. Solo Brow is about to become headless. No need to shave that brow because it's been taken care of for you. Bottom, though, they give up a tower, and I honestly, that's a great trade.
Once again, this is a team on the Dire for CMU. They should not be able to push towers as effectively as their opponents can, right? So the fact that they are trading 1 hero for an uncontested tower, and now they can also go defend their top tier 1 if they want to, and force a fight in favorable conditions because of it, that's fantastic for them. They're actually going to try to trade their top tier 1 for the mid tier 1. I don't think they're going to be able to make that.
All right, tier 1 will drop. Let's look at the mid position. CMU would be starting the tier 1 at the same time that the top tier 1 is about to go down, so we'll already see TPs going. They would have seen those TPs coming out, obviously, because the creeps are still standing, so they got to be careful here. In comes Jedi. It's got the sprint up, thinking about going. Kim going to utilize the extra damage as the sprint's up to really kind of take it to Jedi. That'll force him backwards. Tombstone down for zoning reasons, and that should allow them to push into this tower.
Exorcism in 7 seconds, and that's all they're waiting for. Here they go. They realize Exorcism's coming up. There's going to be... And the turnaround should come here. They should just drill through this tombstone and go defend their tower. They're not going to. They're not even going to glyph.
Jedi being low scared him. It was actually good forethought by Zeus to see the sprint up, know the 15% extra damage was there, and utilize his ultimate to really scare them backwards. And it worked out. OD up on top, still trying to find that farm. He is still 5th on the farm, though, as he sort of is gaining over his opponents. Pinged out now by the opposing team. They want to take out Ice 9. Ice 9 smells a little bit of trouble. Immediately begins to back off. Tier 1's down entirely for the Radiant, 1 standing for the Dire. Game is relatively close, only 500 gold lead, and XP is only at 2,000 to the favor of CMU. So this is still anyone's game, though you did say you expected, I believe, Radiant to be in the lead going to the mid to late game, and that was important for them.
They really should be able to. Yeah.
Are they in a position where you think that they can do that, or is this starting to look like a little bit of trouble for them?
It's starting to look like trouble, but I assume that they're going to try and turn it around as soon as they manage to get an item on the OD, who is still struggling out of the safe lane farm to have a completed item at 18 minutes, which is really not where you want your OD to be. He's very far behind, and at this point in time, I think it's about buying space for him to be able to do something.
GBPS is going to go in deep. He's starting to put some moves on Kim Jong-il, gets up the link, but's got to back away. Now he's being chased from behind, and meanwhile, we see the high ground. Lion came in to help, ended up giving his life to try and keep GBPS out of trouble. It does where GBPS will go, but that is a big loss for them. It's going to force them all the way back to their tower, so lost time and a lot of lost effort as CMU makes a quick response to come in and counter that. Now, worth noting, farm on Death Prophet is absolutely incredible in terms of how the rest of this game has been going. Almost a 2,000 gold lead in terms of farm, has some really great items. Aether Lens, it looks like, also finished up the Soul Booster. Is Death Prophet out that far in front enough, or do they really need OD to be up there?
I mean, she's a good hero right now, but when you look at Death Prophet and her performance, both in pub games and in professional games, she's very highly overrated. She's a strong hero, and part of her strength comes from people don't really understand her that well right now, but her value in terms of her draft priority does not reflect her value in terms of her impact on
Here comes GBPS. She's going to come in. Tombstone's going to go out. Drain on Venom. Nice heal, but is it going to be enough? It will. Venom gets the mech. Bouncing Ball of Doom. Putting in some work. Zones him backwards. Drops 3. Beavis going for GBPS. Wants to make the dive. Ice9 says, oh, no, you don't. Tries to finish, but gets clapped by the ulti as Zeus makes it 4. GPS still very low, gets the link up on Solobrow. Solobrow over-invested, doesn't have the range to get out of this one, ends up going down. So both the Undying and the Venge get a little bit too aggressive up against GBPS, looking for the gold. They were hungry for that kill. It just doesn't work out, and they end up feeding away too.
Yeah, so this is, once again, it's a case where, yeah, things went okay here, but they're going to lose a tower, and maybe they're not going to lose that. They're going to get very close to losing a tower. And the longer this stretches out without the team gold here from Tulsa being able to actively go out and start pressuring tier 2s, the more off their game they're falling, right? And we do have the push items now available. You have the mechanism up. You have the Aether Lens up for the Zeus, which allows him to zone much more effectively. You have the Blink Dagger on the Necrophos, so he can blink past that tower and engage, or he can blink back home from that tower in order to make sure that he gets away from, say, a Serpent Ward drop. And every one of those fights where you force out the Exorcism and the Serpent Wards is going to buy 70 seconds that really there's nothing Tulsa can do on the map, because their entire team is oriented around physical damage fights and towers, ideally at the same time.
Right. So it's the war of attrition down on the bottom has ended, and now we're at a war of attrition in the mid. Both teams happy to go out and do a little bit of farming. Hastrun on the bottom. We see it. GBPS is playing very well. The farm is there. The Death Prophet is doing great, but I feel, based on some of these positioning choices he's making, that maybe he's getting a little bit overconfident in his hero at the moment, because I keep waiting for him to get caught out.
So, yes, a little bit of that, and also it's just a little bit of Death Prophet starts.
Oh, here we go. I'm going to interrupt you as the big jump comes in. Jedi makes the move on Venom. Venom's going to get caught by the smoke, and he is down. In comes the Cavalry. Solo Bro walks in, but all he does is get seen, and now Jedi tries to close the deal. Wanted to put up the ultimate for a vision. Isn't going to get it in time. Has to back away as the tower damage is just too much. Here comes the flanking play from Beavis. Wants to go. Puts up the Tombstone. Tombstone too far back. Not going to be very helpful in this fight, as TU knows it's up. They're happy to see it go, and they're going to back off as quickly as they possibly can and let that be on cooldown. But the chase is not over. Beavis popped his ultimate. He wants to play. GBPS putting up the drains, doing a good job of it. Lockdown from Derek Yan on RoboChips. RoboChips moving forward. Derek is going to get stunned. He should be in some trouble here. GPS finishes the job. Now they move on Kim Jong-il. Big ultimate from OD, but not enough. It's 2 for 2, and the chase continues. Ultimate from GBPS is nice and strong. Zeus is going to go down to it. Beavis falls backwards. He is low. Can GPS finish the job? He's got a Crypt Storm available. This should do it if they find him. They don't. He gets... Nope. Almost got out. I think that was about half of a second left on that TP, and he would have been away to safety.
OD's ultimate in total there only did not even 500 damage to the entire opposition team. It's just he's not far enough ahead. He does not have the intelligence scaling to really handle a Necrophos and intelligence scaling well hero, right? A Zeus, another hero who scales well intelligence. A Lich who went for a Necronomicon, I think fairly intelligently there, as that gives him a
Guess what's
boost
happening
to
to
that
Dyer's
very
bottom
vital
tower.
stat, and also kind of closes the gap in terms of their push potential. Because once again, a lot of very
The Dire
push-oriented
best do
spells and
something about
abilities
that bottom
coming out here
tower.
on the Radiant side. There weren't quite so many tower damaging abilities here for the Dire, and they've
Ooh.
helped to close that a bit by getting that Necro.
Sorry, RUA. Venom set up a nice little gank, moved in the secret shop. Unfortunately, RoboChips got there a second too late to spot him out before the gank, and they end up getting a good pickoff on RUA. Gold lead is back below 1,000, back at 2,000 in terms of CMU for XP advantage. Doing a great job of keeping this game even as they move into the 24-minute mark. Both teams farming pretty well, but again, GBPS just way ahead of everyone else, but it hasn't been a factor, that big of a factor, I should say, so far in this game, because everyone else is just getting shut down consistently. The Slardar only at 4.8k, having a lot of trouble getting his core items up. In fact, all he has is a Blink Dagger and a Stout Shield at the moment, and you can see that affecting these fights.
Yeah. Now, if they do get a couple of core items, these fights could swing very quickly in the other direction, right? Because they're already kind of close. There's a lot of trading and not a lot of core items up for the Radiant side. So a couple of one fights and maybe the Radiant starts to steal away with this. I'm not entirely sure, but both teams right now, their minds are on towers and they really want to be able to get out and pressure effectively. I really don't like the Aether Lens build on the Shadow Shaman. I don't know if you've noticed this.
I don't. It doesn't. I know that it increases your ability to cast those wards at a tower from a safe distance, but yeah. I'm not wild about it in the same way that, like, I think Lion is unplayable. Not unplayable, but Lion has to be built with an Aether Lens now.
Yeah, it's just yeah, you do have the increased range on literally all of your spells, which is nice, but there's so much physical damage as well coming out, and it does not really increase your survivability. It just gives you the ability to initiate slightly better.
Right.
I think he would have been much better off getting something that would be maybe a bit of a survivability item.
All right,
like a Glimmer Cape.
Speaking of initiating, we got a smoke rotation coming out of the Dire side. They pop the Zeus ult to find everyone. They're going to go underground, find GBPS. He didn't TP out once he saw the ulti. Pops his ultimate, not going to be enough. Necrophos to the face, down for 96 seconds with no buyback as that Aegis, the Ags was finished. Yep.
Yeah. Roche is up. They could take that, but I think they're going to go ahead and knock down this tier 2 tower pretty easily in the bottom lane. Then I would expect them to maybe go in mid if the Radiant don't push that out right now. So that should be foremost on their mind. Get that mid lane pushed out because I don't think they can defend this bottom without the team.
I think so. All right, so they're going to be pushing forward. Meanwhile, up on top, you've got OD trying to make something happen here. Ice 9 taking the tower, and it looks like he might be able to do so as CMU seems fairly committed, or at least discussing the idea of pushing into this tower or not. And they have not called out the defense yet. The tower's already at half, so this should be Ice 9 without too much trouble. They're not pushing the tower. They're going to back away? Nope, here they come.
They're going to come in with the creeps.
After a strange little rotation around the map, they decide to go forward. They're going to take this tower, but the rotation to the top also happens from the guys on Radiant. They're going to move everybody up there to make sure this tower is finished. Jedi's got that double damage rune to assist with it, so they will go tier 2 for tier 2, though we could argue that CMU is getting a better tower out of that.
You know, I think CMU are getting a better tower, but that was definitely a better trade for Radiant, right? For Tulsa, they really weren't given the opportunity to take that until they stalled for a while. Their DP is down, they couldn't take a fight, and yet they still managed to get a tower for tower trade. That's something. Now they're going to have a bit of chip damage here.
So they might have more than chip, because right now we've got 3 committed to go into the mid position. They saw that transfer happen, and now they're going to go ahead and lean on it. They're going to get the tower before the TPs can respond, and they should back out right now, I would assume. Nope, they're going to stick around. In comes Jedi, gets up a nice double stun. Down comes the wards. Everyone wants to face. Necrophos to the ult. Slardar is going to go down. Big lock up on Solo Brew. Good play by RoboChips there. Now they want to keep going. RoboChips stopping low. Ultimate from the OD. It's not enough. GBPS low. Ice 9 low. The chase is on. Killed by Zeus. RoboChips drops 2. It's a triple after the TP. No buyback on the Slardar. This means Rax.
Maybe the DP is going to try to pressure them out. It probably is at least.
Actually, her ulti is about to be out. Venom's going to go down.
They're going to be forced out.
They do force him
They're gonna
back.
get a
Nice
couple
lock.
kills on the route.
Robochick makes a good play. They follow up. GBPS here. He's got his ultimate up now if he wants to use it. Yule Scepter into the air. Buys some time. Now Derek Ryan wants to get out of there, but he's in some trouble. Heals himself up. Nice play. Kim Jong-il's going to harass Robochips. Robochips has to fall backwards because he is very low. And CMU looks like they still want to keep the fight going forward. Though really it's a time where they might want to consider just giving up on pushing into that melee racks. And you were right, I was wrong, and I think that they thought the same I did. They put their damage onto the melee racks instead of the ranged, and that's going to backfire on them as they're forced to go backwards.
Yeah, so remember that this is a team that doesn't do a lot of innate damage to structures. Now, granted, they do have Vengeance Aura starting to stack up, and they did have the Necronomicon, but they used the Necronomicon to push with the creeps into the towers. They didn't have it on the racks. I think ranged racks chip and back into Roche probably would have been the right play there. But you can understand why this team would be so eager. If they end up taking a bad trade, their opponents are able to immediately obliterate any tower they want on the map because they have so much potential push.
True.
And getting one leg out from under their opponents, sweeping Johnny, it would be very helpful for their projected course in this game.
So GBPS has finished up the Octarine core as well as the Boots of Travel, which is making her very fast if you watch this smoke rotation, and also very, very strong. That Crypt Swarm healing is incredible. And next, so does that also, do you get healing from the Siphon based on the max HP taken as damage?
No. So it just drains. Right, it's just drain. As far as you know, what I haven't actually played.
Well, I'm talking about the Octarine's passive. I don't know if how it interacts.
You'll get 25%.
So you get 25%. That's still that's a fair amount of healing if you consider the connection and how much damage that can put out. So anyway, meanwhile we see a
lot more from Exorcism though.
That's true.
Right? Which already heals you for the damage that you do, and now you get 25% while it's going, and then you get it again at the end. It makes it very difficult to kill a DP.
All right, so and it does synergize with Exorcism, correct? I got in an argument with, I think it was Blaze and Dragon Drop and some other folks at a summit when they first released the item as to whether or not it would work with that. So glad we know.
All ability damage.
That's what I thought.
I don't think there's anything that's excluded in terms of spell abilities.
Very strong. Gold lead at 4,200, XP at 5. As this game continues, CMU with the advantage. They've been pressing forward, doing a good job of that. But as we've seen, Tulsa not out of it. They're putting up a good fight. They're looking to get into this late game. They're looking to get that push going very aggressively here. Jedi finally getting a little bit of farm up, as it looks like he is going to be going for a mech.
Who's going for a mech?
Sorry, I didn't
catch it. No, he's going for a pipe.
That's a pipe. Which is a good choice, I think, against
Zeus
this team.
And
that makes more sense.
Lich, right. Yeah, it's a very good pick for them right now. They have a lot of physical damage, but they're starting to be able to handle it. They have pretty decent armor, and there isn't, other than the devastation that is Wave of Terror right now, there isn't a lot of negative armor. So if they can bait out the Wave of Terror and then re-engage as that kind of wears off, they've got a really good chance of standing up to their opponents, assuming that they survive the magical damage.
All right, Zeus now has Boots of Travel as well as they head down towards this bottom lane. Necronomicon level 2 up on the Lich. We'll take a look at some other items. Ag Scepter on the Venom and the Zeus, if you hadn't already seen that. Undying with the Guardian Greaves. And on the opposite side, we have a Curse Stick on the OD. And that's about it for major items that have really come out recently. The Lion did pick up a Blink Dagger.
Did you call it the Curse Stick? The Rotavados?
Yep.
I've heard Cripple Stick before. I've never heard Curse Stick. I guess Curse Stick is maybe a bit more culturally sensitive than Cripple Stick.
That's what I'm saying.
But the ability is called Cripple, to be fair. It's not like, out of nowhere.
I had a Cripple Stick just sounds like a walking cane. In comes Kim Jong-il, goes ahead and puts up the ultimate to see where everybody is, wants to make a move. We see Venom go in, pops up the ultimate, boom! Goes the Dynamite, down goes the OD. Now the chase is on. GBPS comes in, puts up the ulti. Down goes the Shadow Shamans as well. Beavis puts it out. He's going to get taken down by the finger. The chase is on as Derek Ryan tries to back away and zone the drain. He manages to do so, but it doesn't matter. GBPS has that on eternal cooldown, and they're just going to keep on trying to run. Kim Jong with the harass, trying to zone her back and say, don't put those spirits on me.
And nothing is really going to come of the attempt. Now, granted, they did not lose anybody except the Undying, right? So they are able to wait out that Exorcism, and they'll have a much better chance of moving in.
Yep.
There is no OD, and they know it. There's no buyback thanks to that Ags.
Absolutely. And
so
28 seconds.
That was a moderately successful push attempt to bait out the big stuff.
Well, I would imagine they'll
now
consider doing it again, because if Venom can get another blink combo like they did the first time, if they can burn down a second one and lock them out of respawn before that OD comes up, that's an easy push for them to finish off that rack. So looks like they might go ahead and put up a try. Nice vision and armor reduction comes out of Solo Brow. Moves forward. Silence going to be on the Kim Jong-il as both teams start to put some chip. Rack's going to get a little bit low in terms of the range as they just right-click it down, try to keep GPS back. GPS going to do some harass, puts out the Crypt Swarm, wants to make a move now. Solo Brow with a good force staff to get out, but that leaves Derek Ryan behind. Derek in some trouble. Derek Yan, not Derek Ryan. Derek Yan now manages to get out. GBPS is just too strong at holding the high ground right now. And CMU, do they have any options besides this chip? I mean, in a 4v5, they still couldn't close the gap.
Well, it was a 4v4, right? Because their Undying was dead. So.
True. I guess that's
true.
True.
It was a 4v4. Really, the goal there was get somebody out of place. Ideally, somebody like the Lion that you can easily blow up with the Zeus, and then roll in 3v4.
Yeah.
That it just didn't work out for him this time. There will be plenty of opportunities to try that again, as long as they don't get caught out in the in-betweens. This relatively stable chipping could work out in their favor.
All right, I saw an Ethereal Blade on somebody just a second ago. Venom does
Yeah,
have an Ethereal Blade. Gold lead is at 3,000 and XP at 4, as it has been moving slowly but surely back towards Tulsa's side. Now we see a rotation. It was pinged out. They ran right past that illusion. Whoa! What initiation. Jedi and RUA go down low. Oh, the bouncing ball of doom puts in a little bit of work. Drops one. They're moving on Venom. Venom's going to get pretty low. Hit with the finger and knocked from behind. Solo Brow on the run. Where is he going to go? Nowhere. As they go on a 2-for-1. Kim Jong has to haul, but he is being chased by GBPS, who's got the Yule Scepter available. She goes for the round, has her confidence in the speed, moves on Kim Jong-il. He's going to start to get obliterated and dropped down insanely fast as he had absolutely nowhere to go. That's a triple for a Slardar, and that will easily be this tower.
Yeah, that was the exact situation that I just lined out, saying as long as they don't do exactly what just happened, they're fine. Now they're in pretty deep trouble. The amount of push potential that is coming out here means that you can't get caught on the back foot like that. When you are, if you are on CMU right now, when you are not trying to push, you need to be safe and secure with good vision to make sure that you're not going to get engaged on. They're going to lose this mid tower almost certainly.
I don't understand. So maybe enlighten me. I didn't expect GBPS to TP to mid. I thought she would go straight up to that bottom lane tower. And push it down, if nothing else, solo, since there was not really anybody up who could contest her at that time.
You know, I am not entirely sure because I'm not in the place. Oh, we're going to
Yep, turn back around. They're going to pick up and throw down. The OD is going to go under. Venom's in some trouble, gets stunned. Big swap to buy some space. Ulti from the OD, not going to do enough. Venom with the heals, stays alive and ends up going down. Now they see the gravestone. OD is going to back away. Jedi wants to put some damage on it, but it's not enough. Bouncing ball puts in some serious work. Jedi drops. GBPS left out. That's a triple. Can they make it a quad? They will. That's 4 down. Last man standing is a Blink Dagger Robochips, who heads back to base to lick his wounds and wonder where it all went wrong. Meanwhile, CMU's going to shove right down the middle lane. They lost the Necrophos, but he'll be back eventually. Meanwhile, top tower will probably go down to the creeps unless Robochips can stop it. He's going to go up there to do that, which means middle tower is wide open and they can force the buyback from the Death Prophet, which is going to be a huge gold spin for them if they do this.
Yeah, so the Death Prophet doesn't really have any items to go now, so probably put her on a shape stick or something. The buyback doesn't hurt so much for her. The more important part of that buyback is that she now does not have a buyback for later. So they can't force it up right now, and then they take one more good team fight. That's basically the game.
So they do make the move. They get the second tower. And it looks like they're not going to go to force the buyback. They just TP away to stop the push on the bottom lane. They're going to head down toward, get some vision up, but not try to force the buyback. Do you think that's the right choice? Could they have forced it if they had pushed to the high ground?
I think they could have forced it, yeah, but it would have been risky. There could have been the re-engage potential, especially considering there are 3-4 Blink Daggers up on Radiant. The only hero that doesn't have a Blink Dagger is the one that would have been TPing in. So there's a definite risk of forcing a buyback there that you're accidentally going to get engaged into an intractable fight and end up losing your tower. So they took the safe play. Right now, I don't know if the safe play is the best play. We'll have to see how they end up working out.
GBPS gets the Yules. They've got the vision, wants to make a move. Beavis turns around. They now know that there's a ward here. After that Yule's initiation. And it looks like they want to take the fight. Tulsa looking to play. And they start to move forward. They get the slow up on Solobrow. Solobrow now going to be on the run. All 5 moving out very, very aggressively. And CMU has split up. So if they close the gap on anyone, it will be a kill. Yellow's got to be careful here. Venom's going to blink ahead, get himself the rune, and get to the high ground. So they didn't force the buyback, and they didn't get the Roche. That is, I feel, a tough situation for CMU to be in. Yeah.
Yeah. They are losing potential opportunities here. They're in a rough spot, though, because they don't really have a great high ground potential. And the Death Prophet is gotten so far ahead that the only way to win a fight is to either immediately blow her up with the Necrophos or to bait out the Exorcism, get out, and then re-engage. They tried the second one in the last fight, and it worked out fairly well. They ended up getting caught out. And that's a important step to that plan, is not getting caught with your hand in your pants in the woods, right? That's
true.
It's implied, but it's there.
I think it's illegal.
Depends on the woods, I guess.
Gold lease depends on your wood. Okay, gold lease is 6,000. XP is at 5. Both of these teams taking a bit of a more cautious approach right now as they sort of formulate their plans. Both worried about the other team maybe going for the Roche at this point. Dire the only team with vision on it and with a slight advantage in terms of their ability to move forward without as much fear, right? Because Tulsa hasn't had a chance to cross the water recently. They know that there's not a ton of vision up on their side of the map, so CMU can do things like smoke and rotate or smoke. I would imagine past the Roche pit looking for a pick off.
They might try, but I don't think it's the right.
No, they'll go for the pick. They're gonna get vision. Solobrow gets caught first before the stun goes off. RUA Baby is now dead. But here comes the bounce, putting in a lot of work. GBPS pops the BKB, wants to go. Kim Jong-il in some trouble. The ultimate is putting in so much work. Kim Jong gets rocked down by the OD ultimate. The fight is on. He saved himself for a second, but it may not be enough. He will fall. Grave. We're using Shaman Wars to kill the Tombstone. GBPS continues to put out damage. Has to back away now as he's already lost 3 of his allies, but he's tempted to stick around. He's got to back off, wants to help the OD, couldn't do it, and it's going to be a 4 for 2. CMU smokes into what I thought was going to go badly for them, as Venge didn't get the initiation stun up, but somehow the power that is GBPS and her ability to heal constantly during this fight ultimately pans out. I mean, they kept that Zeus up longer than I think any hero had a right to survive in that fight.
Yeah, there was a lot of chaos. The bedlam was palpable coming out here for Radiant. They did not coordinate well. The OD
Ruh-roh, GBPS, the swap stun. Venom from behind. 5 seconds left on Necro's ulti. He's got to back away, though. BKB is running, but it's a 6-second charge. They've got to be careful. Derek Yan goes forward, gets drained. Venom's going to turn back around, presumably wants to get on GBS. Nice Hex! He's not going to get his ultimate off. That's going to be a double to Solobrow running in the opposite direction because he has no choices. TP's back, chips the racks because he has nothing else to do. And it is a 3-man kill. Necrophos came back. They brought the whole team in because he yelled, "My scythe is off of cooldown," but he got hexed in a beautiful play by the Blink Lion.
Even if he hadn't gotten hexed there, the amount of heal that goes on to that Death Prophet while that ult is going, there's no... You could have her down to 10% health, and in the duration of a Reaper Scythe, she'd still heal up enough to not die.
Yeah, you know what? I get that, but let's not take that away from the Lion because that was a great play. That was a great play by a support player who has had a very hard game. He's 1 in 9 right now, so that was a shining point. He's probably going to watch it on the replay 3 or 4 times.
The golden days. Yeah. You can't fight into the Death Prophet with the Exorcism up. You just can't. And also, bear in mind, the Exorcism does more damage the closer you are, because the spirits, if you are standing right next to Death Prophet and the spirits are hitting you, the arc that they travel is much shorter, meaning they get more arcs out in their duration of time. You had a couple of heroes trying to attack her from right next to her instead of trying to kite her out. That increases her damage output by about 30% there, which also means she's increasing her heal input by about 30% at that period of time.
Oh, interesting. See, that's what we love, you, Gorgon. You give us those things about ghost arcs. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I don't think about. I love it.
It's all spiritual geometry. I took a spiritual geometry course once in college. Yeah.
Nice. All right, so 2,000 gold lead for CMU. They've dropped over 2,500 gold lead in the last 3 minutes. XP is about the same story as GBPS has put this team on her shoulders and is carrying her in a way that I have never seen. In fact, I have seen this. I went to Peru once, and I watched the baggage runners do incredible things on that trail, and this reminds me of GBPS. It is crazy what he is able to do in this match.
It's just, I feel like the downside here for Tulsa is that they, in the fights, are not super coordinated, and the OD is often casting his ult at really weird, inopportune times on not a lot of targets, not doing very much damage. And on the flip side, I feel like CMU are too eager to move into these fights at not quite the right times. They see, oh, we have a pick, it's time to go, instead of, oh, we have a pick, we have a guaranteed Roche in 45 seconds when he's up. Let's wait it out. There's no way they're going to come and fight into us with just a Death Prophet.
All right, so now we think they're going to, moving forward, CMU is going to go ahead and deward the opponent's jungle to make a little bit of space for themselves. RUA Baby's going to go and ping out up here. Says, all right, we know that they're there. We have vision. Dire sees it and says, all right, there's a ward there, so they're going to plan their ganks accordingly from here on out. Let's see. Vision for Dire is really, really rough right now.
Yeah, well, they've been on this side of the map. There's really no reason for them to not have a ton of vision.
Now, they are going to go ahead and smoke. They did that outside of ward range, I believe, so they should be okay here. As they wrap around, uh-oh, Pink is exposed. This is bad for Kim Jong-il. He does have haste, so he exposes the smoke and gaps it. They immediately see him and start pinging and say they're coming from behind. They're moving very, very quickly. Now you start to see CMU gather their forces, get ready. In comes OD, blinks to start, wants to make a move, hits a creep first, ends up getting hit pretty hard, pops the BKBs, drains up on Solo Brow, finger from behind. Derek Yan in some trouble as they turn back on him. We lost the Necrophos. Beavis dropping very, very low. Derek low, moves on RoboChips. Good bounce of the ultimate. That's going to go 1-for-1 in the mini fight. Ice 9 drops to Solar Brow, but he's got the Aegis. Beavis staying alive, using that Solar to try and keep himself up. I don't know, man. The Tombstone has been putting in work. Look at all those zombies. RUA Baby low. Gets a stun, but it's not enough. It's a triple on the back of the zombies as they were able to put out a ton before Shaman got in range to drop the wards or target the wards onto the Tombstones. Beavis and Kim Jong-il, Solo Brow putting up a good fight. And I'm not really sure. I felt like Radiant should have been able to execute that a lot better. Having OD go in first and getting caught, I think he right-clicked a creep when he blinked in, really put them in a tough position.
It was another case of not really coordinating. The OD ulted, I think, one hero, or he ulted to kill a hero, right? That was almost guaranteed dead anyway. And instead of saving it for a time when you can hit a hero with a lot of health to do more damage.
Now there's the buybacks. UPS comes in. Astral Imprisonment going to come out. They're going to lock this man in space. Beavis doesn't have a lot of options, so he'll go and hit the range racks.
This isn't a good trade.
No.
The Undying for the range racks, and they're not even going to get the range racks. He's got 11 health.
Ooh, meanwhile, back at the ranch, yeah, OD got aggressive, went deep when they stopped. So basically, Undying, so I'm going to finish your racks. They stopped him from doing it, but gave up the OD who didn't get the memo. Solar Brow in the stun, 4-staffed away, but that's not going to save you from GB as he just keeps pushing forward. GBPS gets 1, gets 2, stuns. Kim Jong-il's got nowhere to go. That's a triple. And now they will continue to push forward. They kill an illusion, so Ven's going to go ahead and utilize an illusion to try and buy some space. Actually, it wasn't an illusion. That just was him dying.
A little bit eager from GPS. He used his refresher, even though his ultimate had 3 seconds left on cooldown there.
And imagine if he had waited that 3 seconds. Maybe they would have lost the fight with it, but I don't think that's the case. He'd have another ultimate to drill through.
UPS could be in some trouble here. Pops the BKB, thrown up in the air with the Yules. Nice and strong because it lasted through his ultimate, so he's healed back to full. Venom wants to chase, making some moves. UPS going to go ahead and back away without a problem, though. There's actually good understanding of when his ultimate was ending.
Yeah,
but now imagine if he had a refresher now for a second exorcism. These guys were afraid to chase him when he didn't have an exorcism.
so imagine if he had an exorcism, he'd be able to get this tower for sure. Just walk in, Cyclone Staff himself up, and exorcism it down.
So, tower is low. That is the first time that we have seen an incursion to their opponent's side coming out of the Radiant in a while. The farm chart shows that the teams are still relatively close. The people that are not close, however, is the Death Prophet. A large majority of the farm is on her right now as she's 26,000 gold. Her nearest competitor is at 18, so you do the math on just how far ahead she is. And you can see that in itemization. The problem that we run into, right, is the DP in Tulsa is pretty much out of items that she's going to want to buy here. So what is her next progression here? Does she get rid of the Yules or does she get rid of the Lens?
I'm not sure she gets rid of anything for the time being.
She just holds on to the surplus.
Yeah, so she's going to want to say buyback. It's not up for 4 minutes, but as soon as it's up, she's going to want it. She's got a 1,600 surplus after buyback, but I don't know that that's going to be enough to get her the next thing she wants, which once again I think will probably be a sheep stick. And I would assume the Ether Lens goes out for that because the Yule Scepter is basically cheese for her right now. She's got an Octarine Core and Exorcism. If she Yule Scepters herself, she comes back down at full health during that ult. So there's no way she can really justify getting rid of it at this stage.
This is the cheapest cheese in Dota. All right, they're gonna.
Well, the other cheese is free, to be fair. If we're being 100% accurate. And
That's
here's
true.
going to be the range tracks.
Yeah, they finally got it. Solo Brow! No! The bait!
What a bait.
Goes for the TP. Beautifully played. Venom comes in, but nothing comes of it. Ultimate from Zeus. Pops the refresher. Goes on the double. GPS is here. Gets up the suction. Graveyard going to move down as well. And they put out the damage, but Gravestone's too high up. Jedi still sticking in there. They want to fight this. Jedi in some trouble. He's getting low. Venom turns back around. His ult is silenced. He couldn't get it up in time, and he will go down again. Fingered from the back, and that's gotta hurt. RoboChips shackles up on Beavis. Big drain by RUA, baby, and they get the double. Now Solobrow could be in some trouble. There's the Blink Hex. Follows with the stun. RoboChips will lock him in place. Ice9 doesn't even have to worry because she can't even turn to fight. And they get a quad kill out of it. As everyone's eradicated. GPS was able to finish the Zeus while we watched the fight up on the mid lane. So
They just lost this game.
yeah, that's a 4. They've got 2
They can buy
buybacks,
back
but
too, but they don't have. If the Necrophos buys back and they kill Death Prophet with Necrophos ult, maybe they swing back. But otherwise, Necrophos is going to be able to come in and get this melee racks. There's still no buyback coming out from the Necrophos.
GPS leads the way in. Tower is down. The racks is open. And now the push will come.
Won't be up for another 69 seconds, so they have that going for them.
True, true. No ultimate from GPS, but this should still be enough to go ahead and get the melee Rex down. Buyback from the Venge. They're going to be careful here, but they still got what it takes to push in. Everyone at full health. Big swap inside of range. Couldn't get the stun up. Great play by RU Baby to lock that out. Drain is up. Big ultimate from the Lich. Bouncing all over the place. RU Baby in some trouble. Good lucky bounce for the Dyers. They finish off Are You a Baby? GPS, though, so much heal, so much survivability is going to back away. Saves Jedi, buys him time to move.
He's got 450 move speed.
Venom on the chase. Big swap backwards. Out comes the BKB. Big shackle from RoboChips from the high ground. Derek Yang going to try to stop him, but not before Venom gets in trouble. We did see the Shadow Shaman drop. GPS now on Venom wants to make the chase happen. Yule Scepter's up into the air, surrounded on all sides. Venom dropping low, but GBPS exposed, gonna go down. Venom in exchange, but now Jedi's too far forward. Pops the sprint and prays. Not gonna be enough. Down he goes.
Wrong god.
Good play. Force staff from the Avenge pays off in dividends, and they go from a 4-man wipe to, you guessed it, a 4-man wipe as CMU gets a gold swing because of the kill on the Death Prophet of actually not almost, of 5,000 gold to finish out their items as they push down this lane incredibly fast. No buyback on the Death Prophet.
Can I just make a really small point that I think is turning these fights in a really big way? This Zeus, as opposed to a lot of Zeuses, is opening his fight with Thunder God's Wrath, blow the Refresh Orb, hit it right at the top of the fight, get the fight going so that they have a health advantage all the way around. A lot of Zeuses wouldn't do that. They would save it for when they know they can kill a hero with it, but it has made these fights so much easier for the Dire side. CMU have really benefited from that decision-making coming out of this Zeus.
So they're going to move forward, and it's working very well. They start to lean on the melee racks, looking for their first melee racks, but it's contested again. Jedi gets a double. In comes RUA, gets up the stun. Big Lich ulti. Good bounces. BKB comes out. Gold Ice not going to be available now. RoboChips comes in, gets up the shackle. They move on Derek Yan. Stun from the back from Venge. Will it be enough? It looks like it might. Nope, won't. Derek gets rocked. And now Solobrow's in some trouble as RUA closes the gap. So Solobrow tries to make the rescue. Ends up presumably giving his life as the TP's coming out to try and get him. Venom arrives with the Boots of Travel. Astral Imprisonment. RoboTrip says leave him alone. And now a swap from Solobrow saves Venom, but Venom is dirty. Wants to keep coming. Blinks in, makes a move. RUA Baby will die, but he's caught in a ward trap before it. He gives his life for a support. Matt, that's not a good trade.
Not the play, as they say. No buyback on the Necrophos. He does not have the money or the time. And this is a roller coaster of emotion up top.
Meanwhile, on top, Kim Jong-il gets caught by GBPS, comes in hot, makes his move, got to the drain up. Kim Jong-il doesn't know where to go. He's silent, so he can't mini-stun to try and cancel. The link is there. Jedi shows up at the last second and pulls a straight-up Sith kill.
This is... I know I called game a second ago, but I don't think that there's going to be a lot of defending going on here. There is a refresher available on the Death Prophet. And bare racks with no buybacks on 2 heroes.
Look at that gold chart, just to make you go, things to make you go, ow.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
10,000.
10,000 gold lead. That's a 2,500 gold lead in a roughly 8 minutes. As the guys from Radiant turn it on and are now in command of this match.
Yeah, to give you an idea, that's like 15%, right? A 15% lead at this stage in the game is pretty notable.
All right, Beavis comes
We're talking
forward.
a couple of items.
That's crazy. All right, in comes GBPS, pops the ultimate. They put up the glyph to try and slow him down. Jedi going to go ahead and finish the tombstone. Beavis low, has to be careful. Heals the tombstone. Jedi pops the BKB in an effort to finish it. Meanwhile, GPS stays by the racks, knowing that that is their primary concern. Jedi with the slowing stun. Now they're going to back away. GPS really wants to get those creeps out. Big Necrophos ultimate on the Slardar. He's down for 121 with no buyback. GPS swaps to the high ground. Nice BKB, goes for the TP. They can't stop it. Safety.
Okay, well, they managed to keep it down to just 1 lane of racks, which honestly, it is continuously looking like it should be more than 1 lane of racks. The lack of ability to uphill push has started to frustrate CMU. I think they're going for a mass Necrobook strategy now, just to get more hands on deck to hit these damn buildings, because they just don't have enough physical damage to knock them down.
All right, let's see here. Gold continues to rise, XP as well. Slardar down for 76 seconds. It looks like CMU is thinking about putting a push together here, or is the key just push 3 lanes forward and then go back and check Roche?
I think that they should take Roche, but I don't think they will. They have been butting their heads against this wall non-stop for
this bottom wall particularly. Like, they've literally, I mean, if we talked about the war of attrition on the warding spot at the beginning, if there was ever an indicator for CMU's love of wars of attrition, I guess that was it, because they have been pushing into this bottom lane as hard as they can for as long as they've been able to, and immediately, like they said, they go straight up and start hitting the racks, but in comes the OD. RUA Baby's going to make his move as well. Big swap out, finger to Venom. Venom is going to be in frog form, makes a run for it. RUA Baby going to have to go deep. Nice ward lock on Solobrow. Solobrow could be in some trouble. Ultimate from Kim Jong-il. He's going to go ahead and burn the refresher. Boom. GPS takes some damage, but he's got the BKB running. He dodges the Necrophos ultimate. Beavis in very deep. They're putting some damage on him. Beavis going to have to make the run. RUA Baby comes in, but the damage is just too strong. GBBS could be in some trouble. This might be the chance for GMU as they've got 2 down. They want to keep going. RoboChip's in trouble. He's low. Venom wants to finish him, but the blink will buy him some space, and they will not be able to do it. So they come in. They finally kill the melee racks. It has been the bane of their proverbial existence this entire game. Slaughter will return, Lion the only one down. CMU looked like they had a chance to finish.
Just take the win and back up, please, CMU. I'm begging. I can't take another unnecessary push. The refresher is off cooldown for deep. If they push into this at half health and no skills, they will die. They're going to lose the Lich. That's not the end of the world.
Sorry, Twitch chat just called Twitch chat called Venom a loose cannon. I could not agree more. Ice 9 gonna move in. Jedi gonna hit the stun, misses the stun, but it doesn't matter. That's still a dead Venge. Venge goes ahead and enjoys the Ags moment. Not gonna matter. And Ice 9 heads forward with Jedi as they clear these lanes, looking to get the counter because they know that there's 2 down and only 1 buyback available on the Lich. So they have to keep an eye on the lanes.
This is definitely Dota as seen by Danny Glover and Richard Donner, right? The lethal weapon of Dota games. This has just been crazy. And Loose Cannon, I couldn't have described it better. He's constantly, I mean, he's making plays, but he's not following the playbook.
Right.
And it's been costing his team a bit too.
Now, I will say that he is, I think, one of the few people on the team not wearing the CMU tag. So there is a chance that Venom is operating as a standby, or he could be the club manager. Because keep in mind, guys, those of you who joined us late, this is a scrimmage because of the issues with technical stuff in Reborn earlier tonight, the lack of particle effects, etc., we did not want to schedule a league game because we thought that it could be a risk in terms of fairness and force too many draft picks. So we chose to go with the Scrim tonight, and they may have grabbed Venom as a sub.
We did want to make sure that we brought you guys a game, if for no other reason than we could make sure that you guys know that
You guys, if you want to sign up for the StarCraft or Hearthstone divisions, now's the time to do it.
That is true. That's scholarship money. That's competitive. I think that I believe, and you know, don't quote me on this as I don't have the official word just yet, but we are working to get both of those games to DreamHack as well. Those of you who may know, Dota and League of Legends will both be at DreamHack for the final. Asus Republic of Gamers has agreed to pay all the costs to fly out the top 4 teams. So we're very excited about that, and we're working to see if we can't get the same for StarCraft and Dota and Hearthstone. So if you want to go to DreamHack Austin, go sign up for the tournament and try to win your way there through Hearthstone or StarCraft.
They could just so easily sweep down into Roshan right now.
Guess what's
And you can
happening
tell
Dyer's bottom
that
tower.
Dyer are worried about it. They're going to scout it out with the smoke. They can just kind of poke in here with the smoke to see if there's
Dyer
anybody in
gave
there.
up a bottom tower.
They're not going to do that, though. They're just going to go balls deep. Here we go. The Venge tries it. Throws out some vision.
All right, so they're going to ping it out there in Viz. They see it coming. Now we're going to see rotation. I think that this
Radiant
ward.
is aware.
They saw the
Radiant saw
vengeful the throw. Okay.
wave over
Uh-oh, this could be bad, so they do some scouting. They move from behind. Big swap on GBPS. He's going to get caught immediately. Necrophos puts up the ultimate, but it's not enough. The BKB is popped. Now comes Solobrow. He's dropping very, very low. The fight breaks out all over the area. Solobrow does manage to live. Backs away. GBPS taking a lot of damage. Ice 9 in some trouble as well. Robochips locks him out. Big stun by the Jedi, and that's a 1-for-1. Jedi, though, goes too far forward with that blink. Gets himself in trouble. Ice 9 and Kim Jong-il going head-to-head. And that's going to be a fight that I don't know that Ice 9 really wants should they turn back around. Kim Jong very low. Ice 9 comes in, finishes the job. He finishes 2. He's going for 3. The shackle from Robochips. The death from Beavis. It's a quad. The only man standing is Necrophos, who had to TP back to stop the mid push.
That's a nice play by Venom just now. He uses Ethereal Blade to kill the creep that was being TP'd to by the Death Prophet. So now Death Prophet is just going to have to settle for Roshan instead of winning.
Oh, that
It's a
poor,
good play.
poor Death Prophet.
Yeah. Well,
And
honestly, they probably could push up this lane, but this is only going to take them like 12 seconds.
and this will be a cheese roast, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I think it's the second cheese roast.
Is it?
I think so.
Okay. It's hard to tell because that Yule's a free cheese.
It should have been, because if they have not roached 3 times already, then these teams are slacking. He's been up for 35 minutes or something like that.
Cheese on the ground. It looks like Robochip's going to manage the courier as he picks up everything, including the cheese, heads back to base.
All right, and no pressure. I guess they're waiting for double Death Prophet ulti again.
I mean,
She's got 13,000 gold on hand. Wow, I really botched that. 13,000 gold on hand.
Venom is captain of CMU subs, apparently.
At this point in time, you start thinking maybe pick up something other than the Ether Lens. It's really not doing very much for her. The fact that she hasn't gone for a sheep stick or even a Dagon or something, some sort of damage. There's the sheep stick.
All right, so
Some sort of damage or disable. She really needed. She should have done this earlier.
So, real quick, we have confirmation from Twitch chat. A sub for CMU has said that Venom is not a sub. In fact, not only is he not a sub, he is the captain.
So
of
he's
CMU.
not the one going rogue. All these other assholes. It's immunity.
I can just see that team meeting later, right? Like, he's like, you guys were going rogue, none of you were following me, and they're just gonna like play the replay and be like, that's not what Talkies and Gorgon said, bro.
To be a fly on that wall, right? And just watch him like, we're going in, and the rest of them are like, no, you go, bro. It's cool. We got your back. Come back here. It's just not the right time.
Gold leads.
To be fair, their coordination has been better than we're making out.
Oh,
It's
100%.
been pretty good most of the time, but it only takes one mistake when you're fighting into that constant damage from the death.
Well, and both of these teams have incredible potential to punish mistakes by their opponents, especially positioning mistakes. And honestly, I think that both teams have played relatively well, especially for a 62-minute game. The problem is, both teams have also done a wonderful job of cashing in on those few mistakes that their opponents make. Every time someone gets out of position, it's being utilized to get a pick off. And that's really what's sort of keeping CMU in this, because the gold lead by Radiant is 20,000. Though a lot of that lead is, almost all that lead, and to a certain extent, is on the back of the DP. The DP is getting close to 20,000 gold over her nearest opponent.
You know, I'm just not buying what this OD is selling either. His item build is really weird to me. I don't understand why he went for the Octarine core instead of going for, like, once again, a sheep stick to deal with the Necrophos or something. I mean, I understand why the decision. It gives him intelligence, it reduces his cooldown, it gives him a little bit of lifesteal, that's fine, whatever. But the disable potential to punish the one hero who stands up, which is Undying in strength and Necrophos in damage. If you disable either of those two in a fight, you win the fight.
They got a Lion Ward up on the high ground. I actually really like that. So when you do it, it gives you the ability to sort of keep an eye on possible reinitiation. And, you know,
and you're also safe.
Yeah, and it gets you a good, strong blink initiate or counter initiate should they come forward. Not going to matter, though, because the fight goes out. Venom taking a lot of damage. Ice 9 going to pop the BKB immediately. Bouncing Ball of Doom all over the place. The fight's now going to spread out, so that's happening all over the map. Derek Ryan takes some damage. The ulti going to come out from the Zeus. Now they lost Necro. Big buyback. Slaughter down. No buyback available. We just see the Aegis about to be popped on the OD, but OD is deep in enemy territory. And he will manage to get himself
give up Rax
out.
To kill him,
they do.
Blink away.
So he blinks away. Rax now, big swap on GP. Makes their move. They end up getting the OD with the Necrophos ultimate. That's going to burn. And now we're going to see BKB heals up. Great heals coming out for the Death Prophet. Tries to live through this. Good play by RoboChips. Comes in for the rescue. GBPS, though, is just too low. Gets stunned. He cannot heal himself. Now that is another quad. The name of the game is Quad Kill City. As CMU gets it. Has to burn some buybacks, but is happy to do so. One buyback, to be exact. And can now clear out the lanes to start to push forward. Though they gave up the racks in order to do so. What? Man,
They need a Maelstrom on this Vengeful, like, now. Not 5 minutes from now. Vengeful has 3,600 gold. I think it's worth not having buyback to have that Maelstrom. They're not going to be able to push out without some sort of AoE damage that's not spell-based.
So CBPS is going to go ahead and buy back. We see up on top, GBPS already in the lane, pushing that. It's going to double back to get the defense as they're bringing 4 right down the bottom. You know what I love? I love pushing that bottom lane when the other lanes are still up. So they're going to have to rotate around to the mid position where Zeus was nice enough to bring forward the mid lane. They'll get spotted. Here comes the defense from GBPS. This is their chance. 57 seconds left on the OD. Necrophos' ultimate is off of cooldown. So if they can utilize that to knock out any buyback on one hero, GBPS is it!
Game over.
G as CMU is going to get the tower, the racks, and potentially the game.
What a play. That was a slide into home base. You got the Force Staff. It looked cool. It won the game. That is a moment for Solo Rouse right there. And I think Toffee's died.
Nope, I'm here. We're just watching the end.
Just watching the end of Carthage.
Yep. I mean,
they're assaulting the ground.
I assume it's what I do if the world was coming to an end. Like, there's nothing to talk about. You just sit there and watch it explode.
They're not calling GG. They're going to try to defend with one Serpent Wardle.
Here they come. I mean, if they can do it, they've got the boots. They've got the wave clear to potentially hold. So it looks like they're going to do it.
That's scary relative. And they don't have any AoE clear.
In comes Jedi, goes for the stun. Out comes the BKBs. They want to fight. Jedi on the circle. They get one. Necrophos will go down. Beavis in some trouble. Jedi finishes the job. Bouncing Ball going to do a little bit of work. Tombstone down as well. Now they move on Kim Jong-il. Solo Brow taking a little bit of damage. Jedi gets stunned from behind. And now they're going to try to back away. RUA Baby wants to make a play. Good shackle by RoboChips. Good swap to try and move him a little bit farther away, but that's not going to do enough. Kim Jong in trouble. Gets hit with the finger. Hit. Oh, man. Zeus with the refresher ulti. Turns it back around. RoboChips has some trouble. TP coming in from Kim Jong-il, who had to do the buyback to make it happen. But well worth it when you've got the ultimate and the refresher sitting there on cooldown.
Yeah, they're... so here's the deal, right? They might be able to win this fight again, and we're going to see if they are. OD's going to come in. He's got a lot of damage.
Oh, that's a Rampage. BKB is up, putting out the damage. Gets Beavis. Rampage ended, but able to put up the defense. And that's the power of that OD that we talk about, where it gets very strong, especially at this stage of the game. Kim Jong going to continue to harass forward, but now he's got to run. As we see Ice come out, Ice9 wants to make the play, gets Kim. Look at how much damage he's putting out with that orb. Can he finish the job? Astral Imprisonment means he probably should be able to. No, he killed the creep. He killed the melee creep, took the damage, ends up going down because it was just too much. Jedi gets swapped back and finished. It's a 5-man wipe. No buybacks, but 13 seconds left up on GP. Now the TP's come out. They're going to go for the towers. They're going to try to push this. They've got 2 heroes versus the one about to come up, but there's so many creeps. This game should be over, and the GG comes out. End of the match. That's all she wrote, folks. That's game 1 in this blowout between Tulsa and CMU. And by blowout, I mean one heck of a match that just kept going. My name's Tosh. You can find me at Toffee's TV over on Twitter. You can find my co-caster at The Wonder Count. Of course, you can follow us at Star League over on there as well if you want to hear about upcoming matches. We got one more to go tonight, so don't go anywhere as we get ready for what's sure to be a barn burner of a second round. Stick around. I'll play some music, and we'll hang out on Twitch chat as we get the next thing up and running for you just as quickly as we possibly can.